truth about the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline. For 60 years, Nigeria has burned more gas into the sky than it has ever exported. Flames in the Niger Delta lit up villages, swamps, and billions of dollars of wasted wealth. Now someone wants to turn that wasted fire into a $25 billion pipeline running from Nigeria to Morocco and then into Europe, the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline. One of the longest pipeline projects in the world birthed out of Africa. Today we will talk about the why, the what, the where and the how of the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline. And we answer one question that matters to every African investor. Is this a real opportunity or just another mirage in the desert? Since 1956, when oil was first discovered in Oloibiri, Nigeria, the country has lived with a strange paradox. It became an oil giant, but it kept burning its gas in the air. For decades, flames from gas flares lit up the night over the Niger Delta, visible from planes, satellite images, and villages nearby. Nigeria was exporting crude to the world, yet literally burning off the gas that could have powered its homes, factories, and neighbors. By the 1980s and 1990s, people were already dreaming of pipelines. One famous idea was the Trans-Saharan gas pipeline, Nigeria to Algeria to Europe across the Sahara. It never really got off the ground. Too expensive, too risky, and constantly pushed aside by politics and security issues. Instead, in the late 1990s, West Africa got a smaller project, the West African Gas Pipeline, WAGP, designed to move Nigerian gas to Benin, Togo, and Ghana. Construction started in the early 2000s, and gas flows began around 2011 to 2012. It was supposed to be the backbone of regional gas-to-power in the Gulf of Guinea. In reality, it struggled. Underutilization, payment issues, pipeline downtime. A pipeline on a map is not the same as cash flows in a bank. Fast forward to December 2016, Morocco's King Mohammed VI visits Abuja. On that trip, Nigeria's national oil company, then NNPC, and Morocco's Hydrocarbons Office, ONHYM, sign a memorandum of understanding for something far more ambitious than WAGP, a Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline that would start from Nigeria's gas fields, use or parallel the existing WAGP up to Ghana, then continue north along the Atlantic coast, passing through multiple West African countries, reach Morocco, and from there connect into Europe's gas system via existing or future interconnections. Very quickly, the rough numbers start taking shape. Length about 5,600 to 5,660 kilometers. Capacity around 30 billion cubic meters per year. Cost on the order of 25 billion US dollars countries. Roughly 13 coastal states, potentially more if inland connections are added. Some early estimates talked about first gas in the 2040s. In 2017, the two sides moved from political handshake to technical homework. Feasibility studies and early design work start. The UK engineering firm Penspin is brought in for feasibility and FEED, front-end engineering design. By 2018 to 2019, the first major feasibility phases are completed and presented at ECOWAS. The basic conclusion: technically possible, economically interesting if certain assumptions hold, gas prices, demand, financing, stability, but incredibly complex. Morocco's energy shock and why the project became urgent. Then 2021 changes the urgency. For years, Morocco had been receiving gas from Algeria through the Maghreb-Europe Gas Pipeline, AMEG, which runs Algeria, Morocco, Spain. But in October 2021, amid diplomatic tensions over Western Sahara, Algeria decides not to renew the transit deal. By November 1st, 2021, gas stops flowing through Morocco. Overnight, Morocco goes from being a gas transit country to a gas importer scrambling for alternatives. It leans more on LNG and renewables, but the strategic message is clear. Depending on Algeria is risky. This is when the Nigeria-Morocco idea stops being just a visionary project and becomes, for Rabat, a security obsession. Morocco wants a direct line to Nigerian gas that bypasses Algeria. It wants to become a hub, not a hostage, bringing African gas into Europe via its own territory. It also wants to anchor itself deeper into West Africa, economically and politically. So the 2016 MOU is no longer just romance. By 2022, it starts solidifying. 2022 to 2024, from dream to structured project. In September 2022, Nigeria, Morocco, and ECOWAS sign a high-level memorandum of understanding in Rabat, formally bringing all transit countries on board politically. That's a big symbolic step. It says this is not just a Nigeria-Morocco bilateral. This is a regional project. Around the same time and into 2023 to 2024, the OPEC Fund for International Development and the Islamic Development Bank approved tens of millions of dollars to fund detailed engineering studies and feed work. ONHIM includes the pipeline in its 2025 action plan and starts preparing tenders for segments in Morocco and the first phase, Morocco, Mauritania, Senegal. More coastal countries sign letters of support, MOUs, as the proposed route is refined. By late 2024/early 2025, the status is roughly this. Political backing, high, Nigeria, Morocco, ECOWAS, and multiple African and international institutions regularly reference the project. Technical work, ongoing, route options, compression stations, offshore versus onshore splits, environmental baselines. Financing, still in pre-development, no full financial close, no final investment decision, but early-stage studies finance. Construction, not yet started on the new international segments. Work is mainly engineering and diplomacy, not steel in the ground. So right now, the Nigeria-Morocco Gas Pipeline is a serious, structured, but still pre-FIRD mega project. Why Nigeria cares, the gas giant that burns its wealth. Nigeria's logic is quite straightforward. By the early 2020s, Nigeria is estimated to have around 206 trillion cubic feet, TCF, of proven natural gas reserves versus roughly 37 to 38 billion barrels of oil. So Nigeria is much more a gas country than an oil country on a reserves basis. Yet for decades, because of infrastructure gaps and contractual rigidities, a lot of associated gas was simply flared, burned, or re-injected to maintain oil reservoir pressure. The export routes that do exist, the Bani LNG plant, WAGP, and domestic pipelines, have never fully absorbed the country's gas potential. For Abuja, the Nigeria-Morocco pipeline is attractive because it opens a second major export corridor beyond LNG, lets Nigeria sell gas not only to Europe but also to West African neighbors along the way, fits nicely with the rhetoric of Decade of Gas, a national push to use gas for both domestic power and export revenues, promises foreign exchange earnings that can help fund domestic infrastructure. In other words, Nigeria wants to turn what used to be wasted gas into pipeline cash and gain more leverage in the global gas market. Why Morocco cares, replacing Algeria and becoming a hub. Morocco's motivation is layered. First, energy security. After the Algeria-Morocco gas drama in 2021, Rabat does not want to depend on one neighbor for energy. Second, regional leadership. Hosting a pipeline that ties together Nigeria, ECOWAS, and Europe via Moroccan territory is a strategic masterstroke. It turns Rabat into a bridge between West Africa and Europe, a gas hub for transit, storage, and trade, a political player with leverage in Brussels and in African capitals. Third, domestic development. Gas for power plants and industry, fertilizer and chemicals, balancing intermittent renewables. The pipeline fits Morocco's narrative since King Mohammed VI's 2016 visit. A project of peace, co-development, and African integration, but with very hard energy security logic underneath. Europe enters the story more directly after 2022, when the Russia-Ukraine war blows up the old gas order. By then, Europe has already been importing substantial gas from Algeria, Norway, and Qatar, committed to decarbonization, started building massive LNG import terminals. But the war makes one thing very clear. Diversification is survival. From Brussels and some European capitals, a Nigeria-Morocco pipeline is seen as optionality, another non-Russian, non-Algerian source of pipeline gas, a way to deepen ties with both North and West Africa, a possible future backbone for hydrogen or low-carbon gases if the route is repurposed later. It's not Europe's #1 project. LNG flexibility is still king, but as a long-term hedge, it fits the strategy of never being too dependent on a single supplier again. The hard part, money, risk, and time. A $25 billion 5,600-kilometer pipeline that runs through or past the Niger Delta, the Gulf of Guinea, the coasts of Benin, Togo, Ghana, Côte d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau, Gambia, Senegal, Mauritania, up to Morocco, is not a simple engineering project. It's a 30-year political and financial marathon. To finance something like this, you typically need sponsor equity from NNPC, ONHYM, and possibly state investment funds. Development finance from African Development Bank, Islamic Development Bank, maybe World Bank or EU facilities. Commercial banks and export credit agencies backing EPC contractors from Europe, Asia, or the US. But these players will only come in if there are long-term ship-or-pay contracts with creditworthy buyers, utilities, traders, big off-takers. The tariff structure per unit of gas transported makes sense. The regulatory framework in each country is robust enough not to be changed at every election. Security risks are understood and mitigated around piracy, militancy, and insurgency in certain coastal or inland regions. This is the nuance. You can engineer steel, you can't easily. Climate is stranded assets and the timing question. Another layer, the energy transition. The pipeline is being developed in a world where Europe has committed to net zero by mid-century. Global institutions are increasingly wary of long-lived fossil infrastructure. Investors are asking about stranded asset risk. If the pipeline starts meaningful operations closer to the 2040s, critics ask, will European gas demand still be strong enough for 30 to 40 years? Will this be a cash cow or a stranded, half-utilized asset? Is 20 to 25 billion US dollars better spent on regional power plants, transmission lines, solar, storage, and local gas networks? West Africa will still need gas to replace diesel and heavy fuel oil. Europe will not magically hit zero gas demand in the 2030s. It will decline, but slowly and unevenly. A pipeline like this can later be used or partially repurposed for other molecules, e.g., hydrogen blends or low-carbon gases. And the regional integration benefits, connecting economies, creating standardized markets, may justify the investment beyond pure gas volumes. Both sides are right about something, which is why this project is so controversial and fascinating. In the best-case scenario, the Nigeria-Morocco pipeline doesn't just send gas to Europe. It feeds power plants, industries, and city gas networks in West Africa itself. In the worst-case scenario, the pipeline becomes a beautiful announcement that takes decades, more public debt, and frustration. So, where are we today? And what does the truth look like? As of now, the truth about the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline is this. It is not a pure fantasy. Serious technical work and diplomatic efforts have been underway since 2017. It is not a done deal. There is still no final investment decision, no full financing, and no large-scale construction.